Welcome to Annexed Dinner Table Reviews. I'm Cassandra.
And I'm Devin.
And today we're going to be looking at Fort. Fort is a deck builder game where you're gaining cards, but you're only able to play one, and then you place all your unused cards in front of you and they can possibly get taken by other players. Let's just jump right into it. I think that it was overall a very interesting and unique game where it's just a little opposite of how I normally think of deck builders, where you're, constantly gaining new cards. If you think of Dominion, you end that with, 40 cards and you're barely ever cycling through them. This is not that game. I'm lucky if I end the game with 15 cards in my deck.
Yeah, and it's not just the other players stealing it, but sacrificing cards for bonuses and things like that. Yeah, you definitely start to whittle down your deck at the same time as you're building it.
Yeah. I think concept-wise, it was fairly unique, building that fort and that mechanism of stealing it. And it also increases that, competitive edge where you are able to steal other people's, and instead of, sitting in your deck just looking at it and I need this card to help fill out my deck, you're really kind of I don't like it when they play that card, so I'm gonna steal that card instead, and I might not never use it, but I don't want them to have it.
Yeah, and then on top of that, the ability to play off of other players' cards. So you're really always paying attention to the action because you have to, because it's drawing you in and you might be able to play on that.
Yeah.
So it's not a head down game at all, I think. I think you have to be involved in everybody's turn.
Yeah, and I love that about it, that it is so player interaction, that you aren't, just sitting there with your head down. You are able to always interact with the players, whether you're, stealing their cards, using their abilities, whether you're able to, copy things from their packs. So many varieties of different actions that just really, you're always having to think about what's happening in the game while also trying to think 3 moves ahead to push you ahead but not let the other players. It's just very...
Yeah, it's I want to play this card because I want the bonus it'll give me, but I can't let the other players get this other bonus, so I can't play this card right now.
Yeah.
But then, if I don't play it, I have to play it and put it in my yard, and then other players can steal it, and then play it for themselves. So it's a whole balancing act throughout the entire game.
I think that they have these, made-up rules and these perk cards, which are intriguing, and you get a couple little bonuses and cool little quirks. I think that I could have easily lived without them. I think that the core deck really was enough for me, and that just doesn't add enough for me to really want to use them all the time.
Yeah, I think if they were a little bit more extreme, if they really swung the gameplay and the style of play a little bit more than they do, it would have had more of an impact, and reaching that fort level 2 and 3 to get those bonuses really would have been an achievement to get, because okay, this is going to give me a huge boon, or it's going to give my opponents a huge loss. But ultimately, it's just I can store a couple extra things in my backpack, or
I get to reuse a card or something.
Yeah.
So they definitely have a place. They're just they seem almost filler to me.
Yeah, and you almost forget about them because they're not that impactful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The player boards were actually really nice. They are that double thick cardboard, so things can really have a place, which I really enjoy because it means just that as you're looking at things, it's not very difficult to get lost. You can always see what other people have because everything has a hard place for them. I will say I don't necessarily enjoy the fort level markings. It's easy, I guess, to miss what number you're on. So like we just played a game and I had too many things in my lookout because I was at fort level 3, but it's the 4th hole. And so I was thinking I was at fort level 4, but I'm not, and so it's just...
Yeah, couple that with the fact that the victory points on top of it are the visible thing and not the fort level underneath it. So it's very hard to actually tell and distinguish. So if you're in fort level 2, the number 3 is above it, which may lead you to think you're in fort level 3.
Yeah, and it's just a little strange that they put the fort level underneath where your counter sits. So it's just kind of hard to figure that part out a little bit than it should have been. They could have easily put it somewhere underneath or switched the level and how many victory points they were super easily, but you know, it wasn't, other than like occasionally getting more things in your lookout or more things in your backpack, didn't have too much impact on true gameplay. You just sometimes forget and then gain a little advantage until you remember and go, well.
Or disadvantage if you're playing against them.
It's fairly easy to play. Like, once you know the rules, you're able to really move through those iconographies really easily. But at the beginning of learning, it is very much like you spend a lot of time going, I don't know what any of these do.
And I'd say even later in the game, you're still, on some of the more obscure icons, you're still having to reference your quick guide. Just be like, what does that do? What does that do? Yeah. But they do have a really nice quick guide, so it's not like you have to flip through the manual and try to find where you're looking for. These cards are really great for that.
Say they are very great. They give you 4 of them, and I would say that's almost too many. Like, these are so big. These are the biggest thing in the entire game. Bigger than the whole player board. And it's like 1 per game instead of 1 per player. Where if they made them a little smaller, you could have had them be a little bit more like sitting on top of your player board or something to reference them closer instead of like that thing's just massive. It takes up a lot of space on your table. And then I thought that the components were pretty cute and like totally on theme with these pizzas and the toys. Just very, you know, cute and kind of gimmicky, but like adorable all in the same time.
Yeah, and they're quality wood pieces, so you know that's always a nice feel when you get those wooden pieces.
Yeah. For age range, I think that this one really does go up in age to learn how to play it and be able to play it well. I would say 14, really.
Is that a play or win age, do you think?
I think that's going to be closer to a win age. I think you could probably go down to, like, with someone, like, really watching what you're doing, like a 10-year-old could play it, but you have to have an adult really, like, over your shoulder going, that's not what that does, and, it, you know, guiding, a lot more of a guiding hand with that at, like, that 10 age, where 14, you're able to really grasp those rules and start to have strategy.
Yeah, I agree.
So that was what we thought of Fort. If you like this video, hit that button and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get reminders of our newest videos.